what's good? Long video, let's talk about hypergamy, dating market, what you need to become, things that have happened recently in my life, overall my experiences, and where I'm going and where I recommend you should go as well. Alright, let's get right into it. So, essentially, obviously, okay, you already understand this, hypergamy, right? It's just insane. 5 out of 10 woman, makeup, Brooke Monk will date like a childlike guy and like corrupt the genetics, and it's really that, it's pretty deep, right? And obviously you could go back and forth, like a girl could be out of a guy's league, but for the most part, a woman's dating strategy, and this is something you need to drill into your head. Don't let the girl that you start dating convince you otherwise. This is how the game is, 150%. To choose which person to mate with is a complicated thing for women. So what they do unconsciously is let the men compete it out in a ring. Or at least this is how it was our species, right? And we adapted, but it's still the same. They let the men compete in a ring, and then one man wins, and then they end up settling with that man who wins because they inferred that he is the best man out of the others. And it's not just about fighting success, it's about practicality success, resources, life success, relationship success, your network, your appearance, etc., etc. And this is just how the game is. And you need to understand this completely. And the person who's going to win in the end, it could be, there's like all these different things that can make you win. It could be your just dominance. It could be your level of influence, your fame. It could be your appearance. You gotta have some kind of metric. It could be your height. You gotta have some kind of metric that makes you stand out, that makes you the strongest fighter, right? And obviously there's a huge amount of guys, right? But they could see this, like women could see this when you're in a group circle with your friends and everything, and they'll see who is at the top of the hierarchy, and they could just tell from the body language, they could tell from who's the most extroverted, they could tell everything instantly at who's at the top of the hierarchy just from seeing a group of people, just a group of dudes. It's that simple, and they're always gonna like the number one guy. Now they might be all right with being like with the number two guy, number three guy, because maybe the number two or number three guy really aren't that bad either, but they'll always have in the back of their mind the number one. Every time, a little bit, it'll always be inkling there. And it's just how it is. Do not let them convince you otherwise. Yeah. And this is why you should be careful settling with a woman. And it's like almost like a oxymoron, or like it's very ironic, because let's say you love a woman, then you love her and can completely like display love every single day, right? And that's great. A woman deserves love. But eventually you will lose aspects of your value, because that unconsciously signals to her that you are her equal and that you are not the best that she could possibly get, because the best that she could possibly get will not show as much interest in her, right? And even if the guy loves her, that still means, because think, when there was a girl who liked me that was out of my league, unconsciously, no matter what, I didn't even want to do this, I didn't want to be rude, I'm nice to everybody, but unconsciously I was already like, okay, I'm not that interested in her. So I would talk to her, but I would talk to her in a different way than I would to a girl that I'm really interested in, right? And then the girl I'm really interested in is fine with me, but the girl that obviously isn't as interested in me, or is very interested in me, really just builds interest and starts like visiting me at my job and all this stuff. And it's really that simple. It's just hypergamy. It's really that simple. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Now, there's a lot of YouTubers who are talking about, oh, it's because of, feminism, the rise of feminism, it's because of social media, all this stuff, right? That's making it harder. And that's obviously accurate, right? Like, these things are making it harder. And people are kind of making excuse, it's not an excuse, like, these things are happening, it's valid, right? But again, you either adapt or you fall behind, just like how your species was. It's a bit different now, because now you have AI, you have the computers, it's a different kind of fight compared to years ago, where if you weren't adapted to your environment, you would just freaking die, you know what I mean? So you need to think differently in the way that you see the world, and make sure that you separate yourself in a different way than the rest, right? Yeah. I'm going to for example, this last Saturday, I went to this club. There were maybe 300 people or 200 people. And it was me, my two friends. Let's give everybody a rating and everything. It was me. Let's say I'm probably like a HMTN or some shit, but like I need to cut my hair and everything, so I didn't look my best. My friend who's like an HTN and his identical twin who's the same rating. And then there was this guy who is like below average in looks, but like he takes really good care of himself, like haircut and skin quality and earrings and all this shit that makes him look a bit better than he is. And he has fame. He has 50,000 followers on Instagram, and he has a lot more experience with the club environment, right? And then we had our other friend who's actually not even a bad looking guy, but he's like 5'5", and he's a bit awkward with women, very neurodivergent. And the success rate, I mean, but the guy who takes care of himself, he ended up getting a girl. My two friends who are like both the same rating, twins, they both ended up making out with a girl. I made out with 3 chicks, but it was just for like 10 seconds each time, like an idiot. And then my friend who was just like short, just like didn't get anything, right? And I don't know where I was even going with that, but I guess it just made me realize it's obviously like sounds good, right? Okay, like I kissed 3 girls, cool, but like I didn't like bring any of them home, number 1. And number 2, none of them really displayed strong interest. And number 3, they were all like not super attractive. They were like more in the average range or yeah, about average, I would say. And that's fine, right? But it all just goes to show the value that you demonstrate. You could talk the same way someone else does, but it's the unconscious patterns. It's how much you fidget. It's how confident you are in that environment. It's how familiar you are with that environment. It's the assets that you market to the women that make them choose you, right? This guy who maybe takes more care of himself, he displays the assets better. He takes better care of himself. He looks better. He looks more presentable to a society. He showcases his Instagram. He showcases the followers that he's gotten. He shows his extroversion. He shows his dominance. He has more confidence overall. And that will make the girl more attracted to him, right? So these things all matter. All these, you need to combine every single thing. You need to level up every single fucking pillar so that you become this best kind of guy, right? And where else am I going with this? Let me just like take a second to really think. Yeah, I mean, that's really it at the end of the day. I mean, my best piece of advice to you, like a woman may say that they love you and they will love you for, let's say, a year, 2 years, 3 years or whatever. But eventually, once you display love and love and love and you kind of get off your game, right? Eventually, she will lose attraction to you, and she may still love you deep down, but it won't be in the same primal way that it would be. That the primal way is the best way. When they're primally attracted to you, when they look at you instantly and they're like, okay, I want to be with this person, either sexually and romantically, and this is the person that I want, right? That's it. Overall, all this taught me was I need to lean down. The fact that this girl left me, even though I mean, she's not bad looking, but I mean, no, she's okay, like my ex, right? She's an HMTB, so she obviously looks good. But I mean, she started drinking a lot, she started smoking a lot, she started getting a bunch of tattoos, her brain started working in a worse way, I would say. And overall, I'm a well-rounded guy, I went to a great college, I'm making good money, but I was not enough. And maybe it was the way I displayed my characteristics. Obviously, it could have been like the faults that I had myself with personality and everything. But eventually, I'm assuming she lost love for me, right? And all that made me think was, okay, if this is already getting this competitive and I'm a overall well-rounded guy, I have to adapt. I need to become better. I need to lose more fat. I need to get more tan. And all these things that people do for love. It's insane how blessed you are if you look above average. It's literally insane. You need to be so grateful to God. Did you see that recent video by Syrian Psycho where he interviewed that guy Timothy or whatever? It's just insane. Now, he still looks a bit uncanny in my opinion, but he obviously looks better than he did previously. And it's just to see the amount of struggle this guy went through and to imagine like how life treated him beforehand just because his bones were not, as developed. It's just insane. People are so surface level, it's not even funny, including you who's watching this. Like, it's just, and including me. It's something about life that we can't move past, and it's so sad. And he's one of the people that, like that guy Timothy, you should watch the video with Syrian Cycle, the recent one interview. This guy, had no dad. The dad was a piece of shit that went to jail. This guy had no money. This guy was ugly. This guy lost all of his hair. He had no friends. He had no relationships. His girlfriend cheated on him. Just all these things compiling over and over and over. And he managed to escape and, make a bunch of money with e-com. And then he also was able to pay for surgeries. And thank God the surgeries went well, right? But now he's dealing with, he said, a 4 out of 10 pain or 3 out of 10 pain on his face constantly. And all of this is being done for love, right? It's all for love, and like love, right? But love is literally just them being biochemically attracted to you. And like for some reason, I don't know why this is, but like it's mainly men who are interested in this like topic and theme and these videos. But I think women should be just as interested because it's just crazy to think about. It's all like I know it's all these metrics, but at the end of the day, like it's all looks, man. Like that guy who's a bit below average but has all this fame, has all this influence that I was just talking about before, who like takes care of his hair and everything, and like got a girl at the end of the night. He still always like rides the 2 high tier normie friends. Like he's always following them. They're still like the leaders of the pack, if that makes sense. And it's just because of the appearance. It's just because of the way they display themselves to the world. And there's nothing specifically that they're doing. They're awkward with women. They don't have much experience with the club. But it's just just them. The cover of the book just showcases everything that they need, right? And if you're one of these guys complaining that you're below average or whatever, but you have like a base amount of potential, you don't need to get crazy surgeries, you don't need to get filler, you don't need to get implants, you don't need to get all these things, and all you need to do is just lean down and tan more and just get a haircut and fix your teeth. You should be so grateful to God that those are your flaws and not a bigger flaw like some crazy craniofacial structure issue, because that changes the entire trajectory of your life and your upbringing, and everything is just so predetermined. It's sad, but it's so fascinating as well. You just have to adapt. There's so many people like Rehab Room and Gerber Johnson, and they talk about like the topics of society, like what do you call it, like why society is becoming this way, how to move past it, like what's the best coping mechanism, what should you do. And the only thing, in my opinion, the only thing that you willingly should do is adapt. Because even though there's that 1 to 2% chance that you'll succeed, that's still better than not trying, right? Because there's guys like Timothy who make it out, right? And maybe you're going to fail, but it's better than just giving up. And that's really all you need to remember. The only way the species continues, the only way you continue your bloodline, the only way your kids become strong is the work that you put in. And to be selfish and to waste your time playing, video games or working a job you don't really like, or hanging out with friends who aren't going to bring you anywhere, or being rude to your family who have done everything for you, or just doing it, maybe your family hasn't done everything for you, but just wasting your time doing dumb stuff. It's such a selfish thing. I had this debate with those friends before we went out to a club. It wasn't really with my friends, but it was the father. This is like one of the most interesting topic ever to me. It was my friend's father who was there. We were at the dinner table, and then it was me, and then it was my boy, the high tier normie guy, and then there was the 5'5" guy I was talking about earlier. And the 5'5" guy is like very, very smart. Like his intelligence quotient is probably really high, and he's like majoring in physics and whatever, and he's in the army or some shit. He's a good guy, right? I have no problem with him, but basically, like he was right. Like the debate was basically like my high tier normie friend saying like he wants to become an influencer and he wants to make money, and that's all that he thinks about. He doesn't care about learning about stuff like, I don't know, math class or calculus, or he didn't care about most of the classes in school, and he doesn't really care about learning more information about things. All he cares about is the goal itself and adapting to that goal. And the father thought that's like super narrow-minded, and I'm kind of in the middle between everybody. The father thought that was very narrow-minded because the more knowledge that you have, the more information that you consume in your head, the more well-rounded you'll be in life, right? And like to just completely like remove a subject, it's kind of like, would you rather study for a subject and get a good grade on a test that you don't care about? Or would you rather just cheat on the exam and get the 98 so that you could further your opportunities, but you don't know any of the information? And for me, I choose cheating on the test to just adapt every single time, right? And maybe that's like very naive, maybe I'm still young, but that's my mindset, right? Because it's going to take you further. It's unfortunate how the world is, but it's just going to take you further because it's all about the survival of the fittest. You could learn everything, like, and then the 5 for 5 guy friend was like, no, you need to learn information. If you don't learn information, you're not going to know anything about life. And the dad thought we were both idiots, right? And it's very, very narrow-minded the way we see the world. Like, all we care about is a goal, and that's it. But that's exactly how my mind works. You know, I'm not going to waste my time putting this dumb information like Calculus 2 into my head. It doesn't make me better. Sure, it builds critical thinking skills in my head, but that's not tangible. It's not as useful as something like reading about taxes, reading about accounting, right? Something practical in the world that you'll actually use, learning how to deal with women. That's what you should spend your time doing instead of doing this dumb shit. And the guy who did the worst with the women at the end, who has a body count of 0, is the 5 for 5 guy who's super smart, who worries about physics and all this shit, right? And the guy who has the highest body count is the guy who's below average, just takes care of himself, but is a complete idiot. His IQ is definitely not above 90. He's a complete moron, but he's famous on Instagram and his body count is over 50. And now it depends on what your success is. I'm not saying success is you having a 50 body count or whatever, but he's definitely more interesting to be around, right? He's gonna be more appreciated by society no matter who he is, and he doesn't have any limitations in his mind. He just does things and that's it. Right, I'd much rather be him than the 5 for 5 guy who's smart and studies physics but doesn't get the girls that he wants. And at the end of the day, isn't that what you really want? Like everything, all power is sex. Like the one who's gonna be most respected is just the guy, like the man who just has more sex or has the ability to have more sex, right? Or has the most beautiful woman who he is having sex with, right? It's so interesting, but that's all power comes down to at the end of the day, or everything that we're battling for is just sex. All this YouTube stuff, all these videos, you could say it's to like for the greater good and whatever, and it probably is, but at the end of the day, like unconsciously, it's being motivated by the hormones of testosterone that make me want to conquer the world so that I can have access to a better woman, right? Or just like the opportunity that these videos will go out to the point where a good woman will see these eventually. Or like a man will send a link to another person, like the men will send a link to everybody, then it become like one day I become famous and then boom, right? That's really all it is for. And when you really break it down, it's just like, at the end of the day, like everybody's just coping, man. Like just be straightforward. We don't need to build. It's very nihilistic. I know there's like, if you dig into philosophy, I'm probably being really narrow-minded, right? But at the end of the day, like the world is becoming how it is, right? And it's not gonna get better. Like AI is already coming out. Freaking these girls are like the West is 100% falling, right? Women are becoming more and more. You know, like they're doing better and better in the work field. Promiscuity is spreading like wildfire. The girls are not. It's very, very rare to find a traditional woman, and obviously, with a traditional woman, you should be a traditional man as well. But I mean, being a traditional man, more than likely, she's gonna choose the guy who has more access to sex because that guy will have more power and will have more connections with people overall. When you think about it, right? And unconsciously, that's what her brain will wonder. She'll always crave the dude who has a bit more experience because it's just in her nature. And it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating. And like the only thing you could do is adapt. Don't try to build like these communities off grid or something, or don't try to like solve the problem by like, I don't know, thinking of like these new things and like looking at like data, right? Like my friend was always talking, like that 5 for 5 guy at the dinner table was talking about data, right? And like people who go to college do better overall, right? Because they're going to be more properly educated and they're going to have better opportunities. And I completely agree with that. But the guy who just learns everything about a specific skill and does it every single day and becomes obsessed with it will also probably do pretty well, so long as his intelligence is above a certain threshold, right? And it's just like this, and like, I understand both sides, right? But at the end of the day, it's either you adapt or you fall behind. That's really, 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 really that simple. It's the TLDR of all my videos. You adapt or you fall behind. And I want you to ingrain that into your head. Your body fat's either too high or it's good. That's simple. It doesn't matter what your genetics are. It doesn't matter if you're, living life. It doesn't matter if you're eating well. It doesn't matter if your diet's great. It doesn't matter even if your hormones are good. What are you competing for? You're competing for women. You're competing for sex. And what do women care about right now? They're going to care about you having a lower body fat that's going to look healthier, and it's going to signal you more capable to survive in your environment, which is going to make her more physically attracted to you in a raw, primal way. And the raw, primal way is going to be the way that she stays with you compared to everything else. They could say love and everything, but they'll always desire that person where it's a bit more primal. Who's gonna adapt? The guy who studied in college, got a bunch of good grades, 4.0 GPA, successful, started working at a hedge fund, he's gonna do really well. Or the guy who just gets into ecom and spends 11 hours a day doing it to the point where he completely masters a skill. If you spend all your time mastering one skill and you really dig deep into it, and you have intelligence above 100, you're going to go do well in the skill. You're gonna make money. If all you think about is making money, you're gonna become successful. And that's what matters. Stop wasting your time reading about some stupid books like these freaking librarians who are reading books about Jupiter. Like, I'm learning about Jupiter and Saturn, like astronomy. Are you like, okay, cool, you wanna be an astronaut? Guess what? That's not gonna get you fucking pussy. And I know how naive that is, right? The pursuit of knowledge, you just wanna completely erase it. But I'm saying that you're gonna fall behind. You have time to learn about all that stuff once you're successful, because you have a duty to have. You have a duty, right? You need to take care of your kids. You need to take care of your family. If you don't make money, if you don't have enough money to spend, your kids are gonna struggle. The cycle is just gonna repeat, and your last name is gonna die out. And to think of wasting your time doing just dumb stuff, dude, you have an obligation. You have a very, very strong obligation to do these things for your children. Else they're gonna keep suffering, and keep suffering is just gonna get harder and harder and harder. And you need to be that 1%. It's just that simple. You have to be. There's no other choice. Gotta be strong. Peace.